So today I'm going to be installing this Johnson Controls A421. Here's the box right here if you want the full model number. I'm going to mount it right here on my transition that I made. Bam, like that. And then use this 9340 relay to control the fan. So what this does is it prevents the fan from coming on in the heat pump mode until the coil gets 94 degrees, or until the liquid line gets 94 degrees. See on the control there, it has a thermistor or a sensor, and that's going to be attached to the liquid line. When the liquid line gets 94 degrees, it'll close the relay in here, send power over to this relay, and then send power to the fan and turn the fan on. So I'm going to get everything mounted and get it wired up, and we'll show you how it works at the end. Alright, so I have everything wired up. First of all, what I had to do, since my fan speed needs to be on low in both cooling and heating, I actually made up a little Y right here. So I'll come off the cooling tap and the heat tap, run it into this little connector here, and then have a male terminal, and then my fan, then my low speed of my fan plugs into it, and that's good to go. They didn't leave enough park terminals on here, so here's my other fan wire. See, I just put a connector on that and then zip tied it up. So with my cold blow controller, that's what I'm going to call it, here's my fan wire right here coming off of my module, which would be coming from the thermostat. So that's green, but see, I have brown headed over to the controller, and then of course I have common connected right there. I have my reversing valve, which is going to power the relay, and then I have my common right there. Yeah, so I have 4 wires going over there. My fan, my reversing valve, the fan coming back, which is on the green terminal right there. So there's that green, it's coming back from the controller, and then my common wire. So I have 4 wires coming into the furnace, green, and then I'll show you over at the controller and the relay what I'm actually doing over there. Alright, so here's my relay. I have my orange wire right here coming in, and it's powering my relay. And of course the blue is right there. It comes down here and it powers the relay. And then my reversing valve wire right here goes up, and it actually powers the controller right there. I don't know if you can see that, but so it powers the controller there, and then the blue would be my common wire. And then I have my brown wire coming off of the relay down here, coming off the relay right here, powering the relay in the controller, and then when it closes, it sends power through here, and it hits down here, and then runs over to the furnace to turn the fan on. So what's going on here is I have my fan wire coming from the thermostat, hitting the common side of the relay, of the normally closed side of the relay. And that way, if the reversing valve's not energized, it's just going to send a signal from one side to the next and go over to back to the fan if I need cooling or heating or something like that. But now if the heat pump is on and the controller is running, I don't want the fan to run, So my reversing valve wire actually powers the relay. And when it powers it, it turns that normally open into, it turns that normally closed relay into, it's open at that point. The contacts will be open. And so what it'll do, it'll send power from my brown right here up into the controller, and then out of the relay of the controller, back down over to green, and then back to the fan to turn the fan motor on. So when that line, when the liquid line gets 94 degrees, the relay in here will close, send power from this side of that relay into this side, come back, hit here and here, or hit here, and then run back to the fan, turn it on. So now I got to fire it up and set the controller to work in heat. All right, so I just got the controller hooked up, and as you see, my liquid line temperature is going up. Let's see what happens when it gets up to about 97 degrees. As you can see, this quite a bit of time that's elapsing for the fan just to be running. Imagine that fan running across that 84 degrees or whatever for that amount of time. You could see how the cold blow would happen. I'm holding the liquid line, it's getting pretty warm, so. Alright, so fans just come on. What a difference that'll make. Alright, so when you install the controller, you have to pair it up with a relay. Because you want to be able to control your fan. So this wire right here comes from the furnace, and this one up here goes up to the controller. So here's how you wire it up. So what I did was took my orange wire, which is the reversing valve wire, wired it up to the coil, took the common wire, wired up to the coil, so that way when the controller or the thermostat calls for heating, which since it's in heating, stays in heating, this coil is always energized, right? So then I took the fan wire, which coming from the furnace is brown, and I hooked it up to the common side of the relay. And then so I took that up to the relay that's inside the controller, so that way when this gets 97 degrees, it will close the relay and then come back on my green, which I have it over here on my normally closed side of the relay. And then I have the green going back to the furnace board. Now, the reason I have these in the normally closed is because when this relay is de-energized, I have power, or this relay is closed from here to here. But when it energizes, this relay opens. And the reason you have to do it like that is because when it's in cooling and this doesn't have power coming from the reversing valve on this wire here and this wire here, then the fan will continue to run when it gets called. Because you don't want it to run when there's a call for heat. So that's why when it's energized, this relay is open, and it will send power from the controller down into this one and then back to the furnace. So that's how you wire it up. Now, when you set this thing up, you go into menu. See, the off is the first one, and you see I have it set for 77 degrees to turn the fan off. Then the next one is my on, and I have it set for 97 degrees. And then I just went through the instructions and had it defaulted to the closed position. That way, if something happened to the controller, it will default to close, send power through, energize my fan whenever the heat calls. So that's that. It's pretty much it's pretty easy actually, but like I said, the reason I have it set for 77 is because when this reaches 77 degrees, this will open up. We'll demonstrate that here in a second. Alright, so it's 92 degrees, and it should be coming on in just a couple seconds. And then when it does come on, I will take my app there, turn it off, and show you. Alright, so the fan just came on. Let me turn my app to 71, submit. Alright. Now the outdoor unit should be shutting off. Alright, so the outdoor unit shut off. When the line temperature gets 77 degrees, that green light will shut off. Alright, there you go.